Hi everyone, welcome back. We are in class number 3 for the Yoga for Soul Reset for this summer. We're here again on the Methodist University campus. We're making our little tour of campus. Today finds us in the President's house, which happens to be where I live. So this is where I tend to do my own yoga. And you'll see I don't usually use a mat when I'm home. Yoga doesn't require a mat. It's pretty typical. And a mat, certainly in a class, you're going to want one because you're going to want something to separate you from the floor. And yoga provides a nice little boundaried personal space. Usually they have a little bit of cushioning in them, so it is a good thing to acquire. But again, if you're just practicing at home, practice anywhere that's comfortable. If you don't like putting your face on the floor, put down a pillowcase, something like that. But I'm so glad you're back. I hope so far you found this encouraging and not discouraging. I want you to remember that yoga is just at your own pace, at your own speed. Don't ever feel like it's a competition, and don't ever feel like you have to mimic, again, the optimal version of the pose. That's like saying that you can't play tennis unless you can compete with Roger Federer at Wimbledon. Okay, yoga is for everybody. My 86-year-old dad broke his leg a couple of years ago and was having trouble regaining his balance, and I pitched a chair yoga class at his local YMCA, and he went, and at first he was like, it doesn't really do much, but pretty soon he was hooked and dedicated, and so he's been doing it for about 2.5 years now. He had to sit out obviously during the pandemic, but they're open back up. He's in Ohio. He was back there for the first class, and he loves it, not just for the movement and the balance, but the community, and he's just really enjoying it. So if he can do it at almost 87, anybody can do yoga. Okay, so let's get started today. We're going to warm up standing, and I'd like to start with breath this morning. So just a little bit more about yoga breathing. Yoga breathing is typically nose in, nose out, all right? Although there are a lot of different breathing exercises involved with yoga. There's everything, there's one nostril in, one nostril out, those kinds of things. There's a lot of different fancy things. Those tend to be a little less common in American yoga, and I don't feel a particular mastery of them, so I'm not going to share them with you, but you could certainly run across them in some yoga classes. But for the most part, what we want to think about with breath is just having focused breath and coordinating breath with movement, as I said before, just kind of the inhaling and the exhaling so that you're feeling the breath move with your body and the rhythm of your breath. Something to remember is that, I don't know about you, I'm not great at breathing on someone else's timetable. So if the teacher is up here saying, okay, inhale and exhale, I often find myself that I want to inhale longer or shorter, exhale longer or shorter. So always make sure you feel completely comfortable getting on your own rhythm and your own schedule, even if it doesn't match up your neighbor or the instructor. That's perfectly fine. You don't want to start to feel like you're just, working for breath. So just make the breath part of the movement, a natural part of the movement. And as I said, normally in and out through your nose, but if you feel like you need to mouth breathe because you're exerting yourself a whole lot for certain poses, that's perfectly fine as well. No rules in yoga. The only rules are don't hurt yourself, okay? Another, actually not rule, but something I forgot to mention yesterday is generally it's a good idea to practice yoga on an empty stomach. This is a 7 a.m. class, but I also know that you can watch it later. So it's not against the law, but you just won't enjoy it nearly as much. It won't be effective. It could make you, I suppose, a little nauseous if you're moving around too much and you just ate a giant spaghetti dinner or something like that. So go easy on the food, just a couple hours, but I have my trusty water. Feel free to keep hydrating while you're drinking. Okay, so back to the warm-up. We're going to warm up standing. So begin with your mountain pose that we have learned. Nice long neck, head lifted on a string, shoulders down, shake them out. Feet lined up parallel under your hip bones. Pelvis a little tucked under but not exaggerated, okay? You just don't want to have a big sway back, but however your body fits is great. Okay, so here we are in mountain pose, and begin to center yourself. And begin to notice your breath. Start to put away everything outside the room. You can close your eyes, bring your focus inside your body. Sweep everything out of your mind, set it aside till later. I'd like to teach you one particular breathing technique. It's called square breath or 4x4 breath, and it's actually a little more mainstream even than yoga. You'll find that this is a breath taught to people like Navy SEALs or firefighters to calm themselves before they're heading into a intense situation. So as I said, square or 4x4. So the idea is we're inhaling for 4 counts, we're holding it for 4 counts, exhaling for 4 counts, and then holding the empty lungs for 4 counts. And you're just going around that square. And when you're at one of the holds, try not to think about like constricting your throat or anything like that. Try to think about, if you've inhaled and your lungs are full, just kind of think about floating above that. And the same kind of when you're exhale, just kind of feel your motion, feel at ease. Don't feel like you're, holding your breath or anything like that. All right, so let's give that a try. And again, if my 4 count isn't comfortable with your 4 count, do your own 4 counts. But let's try 4 times, okay? So we'll do this 4 times. All right, are you ready? Inhale. Hold. Exhale. And hold. Try to use nice deep breaths. Okay, hopefully you're feeling a little more calm, a little more centered, but you can call on that square breath anytime you need to when you're heading into a big argument or meeting at work or something like that. Just calm yourself. All right, let's continue with the warm-up. Start with a stretch. Reach an arm up to the sky, fingers as high as you can. Other side, reach. Fingers clasped and turned out. Reach, 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 shoulders up. Feel that tension in your shoulders, kind of work that out. And down, shake your shoulders out. Arms out to your sides. Couple of circles to the back. Couple circles to the front. And then what we did before, twist, shoulders way in and way out, way in and way out. One more time, way in and way out. Good, all right. Let's try to do something coordinating with our breath. We're going to do a standing twist. So we'll inhale up and exhale, twist. And keep looking back, but not too much strain on your neck. Just chest open, one shoulder back, one shoulder front, twisting all the way down into your torso. And inhale back up to center and front, and exhale to the other side. And take a breath, a full inhale, exhale this way. And then inhale back up to center. Exhale back to the first side. Another breath here. Inhale, center. And exhale the other direction. And a breath here. Inhale back to center. And relax back in mountain pose. Shake those shoulders out a little bit. Neck over to one side. Nice and long on the opposite side, not scrunched over here. Keep your shoulders down. Breathe. Back up to center and over to the other side. Back up to center. Let's get one more shoulder stretch in. Bring your arm up and then your hand down behind your back. And use the other hand to kind of press that a little bit further on your elbow. So stretch there. Shoulder, your triceps wide open. Keep breathing. And switch. And come back to mountain. Shake it out. All right, let's push ourselves a little bit. You ready to revisit chair pose? Remember chair pose? So your feet stay where they are, parallel, forward, and we're going to sit down in the chair that isn't there. Okay, so on your mark, get set, have a seat. Keep breathing. Try to have your shoulders relaxed. Have your neck relaxed. You can kind of look out, but don't push yourself to look up too much. And release. Take a moment and we will repeat that. Ready? And sit down. And back up. Whew. That's getting us warmed up, isn't it? All right, next up, forward fold, also familiar to you. Still the same feet position, still the same body position, starting from mountain pose. And we're inhaling up, and then exhaling, swan dive over. And as usual, it doesn't matter how far you're going. If it's just a slight bend, put your hands on your thighs, your knees, your calves, ankles, floor, wherever you want to. And then when you're ready to roll up, bend your knees and start at the bottom of your spine, rolling back up slowly, straight up to mountain pose. Forgot to tie my hair back. All right, take a moment to feel that energy coursing through your body. It's amazing how much energy you can get from a few poses, huh? All right, let's try one more forward fold. Turn this way this time so you can watch from the side. So nice, tall, long mountain pose. And then arms up and swan dive forward. And then just relax and hang. As we talked about, if you'd rather cross your arms, you're welcome to. If you just want to let your arms hang or put them anywhere that's comfortable, just make sure your neck is nice and relaxed. And let's roll up, one vertebrae at a time. Slowly, slowly, head comes up last. Excellent. Okay, we're going to go wide foot now. Mix it up a little bit. So as we talked before, somewhere around 3-4 feet, wherever your wide feet feel comfortable. We're going to keep feet forward for this first pose. We're going to do a wide-legged side bend. Okay, pretty self-explanatory. Legs are wide, we're bending to the side. Okay, so for this, we're just going to keep one hand on the leg. We're going to try to stay in this singular plane of our body, so no twisting, no scooting or stretching, all right? And we'll lift the other arm over and just stretch to the side. You're going to probably feel this in your hips. Stretching out this quadrant, tends to be tight. Keep breathing, shoulders relaxed. And back to center. Take a moment to bring your whole mental, physical self back to center. Take a breath. And let's go the other direction. Again, try to stay in that same plane so your chest is wide open, your overhead arm is around your ear, this hand is down wherever you feel comfortable, and you're just kind of stretching all of this over here out. Rib cage, hips. And back to center. Shake it out. Take a moment, recenter yourself. And next, let's visit Warrior Two, which you have already learned. So if you remember for that, we're going to turn a foot out. So these feet are perpendicular now. And remember, as I said, when you're turning a foot, you're turning a leg from the hip. Okay, so don't try to torque that knee in any way it shouldn't be. So heel lined up with the arch of your foot. Still got that nice wide stand. You can adjust it if you want, wherever it feels comfortable. All right, and then Warrior Two, we're going to inhale, arms up to shoulder level, and exhale, bend your knee. And then we look over the bent knee, straight out. Seem familiar? Remember, in this pose, you're a warrior, so your chest is wide open. You're feeling strength, you're feeling power, you have energy shooting out from both hands, but your neck is relaxed, your gaze is calm. Keep breathing. And unbend your knee, turn your foot straight, back to center, arms down. And let's do that on the other side. Turn foot, feet perpendicular, hips a little toward that front foot, but chest wide open. Inhale up, exhale down. And gaze out over your bent leg. Strong, open, engaged arms, engaged whole body. Feet pressing into the floor. Try to make sure your weight is balanced between the 2 feet. And back up, foot straight, arms down. Breathe. So I mentioned to you before that there's also, in addition to Warrior Two, there's a Warrior One and a Warrior Three. We're going to save Warrior Three for another day, but today I want to introduce you to Warrior One. So we're going to do it sort of in contrast with Warrior Two. So we'll start back to the first side and do Warrior Two again. So feet perpendicular. Get yourself settled in there. Arms up. And then knee bent, heading out over. So this is Warrior Two, yes. So Warrior One, the lower body is going to stay identical, okay? But what you're going to do is drop your back hand to your leg and lift your front hand up and over. This is sometimes called Peaceful Warrior, also Warrior One. So we've still got that same lower body, but we're backing off the upper body. You can feel this has quite a different stretch from Warrior Two. See if you can go back to Warrior Two and then back up. You can tell they both hit you in the quads, so that can be tough. All right, let's go for the other side and do the same. Feet perpendicular. Take a breath, get yourself situated, and inhale up, exhale into Warrior Two, and then back hand down to your thigh, front hand over your head, and look up. And keep breathing. And hang in there with those quads. And back to warrior two. And back up to center. Okay, how's that feeling? All right, you're welcome to leave your feet wide because we're going to do another wide pose, but there's something I want to show you. You might notice I brought a few little things here with me. Maybe you should come back to mountain because this will take a minute to explain. But you might hear something about yoga props, all right? Sometimes you can walk into a yoga class and the teacher will say, grab a block and a strap out of the closet. And you might think, are we going climbing or building something, all right? It's just nothing too complicated, but the idea with some of these props is that they allow some modifications to the poses to make it a little easier and more effective as you're on your way to the optimum version of the pose. Okay, so I personally don't use props in my own practice much at all, like ever, but they can be really good for certain things, so I kind of want to introduce them to you today and give you some examples of how they work. So we'll start with the block. Our next pose up is triangle, and it can be a good one to use a block for. They come in all different forms. They tend to be about this size, or sometimes there's a bigger and smaller version. This one is teak, but they come in foam and lots of different things. But about that size. So if you're going to use a block, for triangle, you're going to want it kind of there as we get ready for triangle pose. If you recall, Trikonasana, you learned the Sanskrit word. And we're going to turn out the foot by the block. And remember, triangle has some things in common with warrior, but we don't bend the knee. Knees stay straight. And we kind of pivot down. Okay, so the block can be nice if you can't reach the floor, okay? And it can be a good stopping point, and you have the similar purpose of the pose, but you don't have to push yourself quite so far. So you want to kind of have it lined up here near your foot. And for a triangle, ready? We still have that slight bend in our hips toward the open leg. Feet are perpendicular. And we're going to inhale, shoulders up, but palms forward. And then reach out toward the block, the forward foot, and then pivot down. And as you can see, what we're going to end up doing is landing this hand on the block. Okay? So you can see that way you don't have to get all the way down to the floor. You can get a little higher. These blocks can also go this way. So if you don't want to even go that high, you can have a good triangle just like this. And then you can kind of, without having to worry so much about the stretch, you can worry more, or think more, not worry, about having your hips open, your chest open, your arms stretched. Okay? So again, there's no need for a block. You can always land your hand right here or something like that, but it's just another option. And let's come back out of triangle. And arms down, feet straight. I'll try it on the other side. Feet perpendicular. Whoa, watch your balance. And then for triangle, inhale, arms up. Reach towards your turned out foot, and then pinwheel down. The other thing I have mixed feelings about props is it can be kind of hard to figure out where it is, so you don't want to fall over while you're looking for it. But they can be very effective sometimes, especially if you have an instructor who's helping you with them. And inhale back up. And exhale everything back together. So that's a block. Okay, next up, I'd like to introduce you to a new balance pose. We did the tree the last couple classes. Now we're going to try the dancer, sometimes called Lord of the Dance. We'll just call it dancer for now. So balance, of course, we're going to be up on one leg again, but this one's just a little bit different. So we'll start with a pretty mild version, but as I said before, when you're starting to think about balance, sort of get your center, get your balance before you try to take that foot off the floor, okay? So find your point to gaze at, the floor, the wall, something that's still that you don't have to worry about falling down in front of you and causing you to fall down. And then for a dancer, what you're going to do is you're going to lift one leg up and you're going to grab your foot, your ankle, or something like this, okay? And this can be done on the outside and on the inside. I've seen it taught both ways, whichever you feel more comfortable. The inside kind of opens your shoulder a little bit more, the outside not so much. But the key is that as you're doing dancer, you don't want to torque your knee in a funny way, okay? So make sure that whichever way you're lifting it, you've got a nice, proper alignment of your leg, okay? So we're going this way, and this is a perfectly fine dancer right here, okay? If you can get to this position, great, good start. And if you want to take it further, you can bring this leg back so that you've got more of a stretch on your quads there. You can feel that. And then ultimately, you're going to want to lift this arm up. And you're going to want to lift this leg back. So that's a dancer. Okay? Let's try it on the other side. So as always, find your position, find your comfort, nice and centered. Start in mountain pose, and then grab hold of that foot. And as I said, you can stop there. You can kind of use your other foot as well if you want to pull that back a little bit. Or excuse me, your other hand. And then if you're able, bring it up. And then take it down. Dancer. All right, take a moment to breathe. Shake out the balance pose. And we're going to move to the floor. Okay, we're going to do some seated poses. And that's going to bring in some of these other props that I brought with me here. This is a towel, but a blanket works just in the same way. You're welcome to use, and this is a strap. Okay, so we're going to start in staff pose. Looks pretty simple, but is kind of uncomfortable, especially a lot of times men have trouble with these. But staff pose is basically just this. Legs straight, nice long torso, sitting up straight, shoulders relaxed, head tall, chin not up, back of your neck long, staff pose, okay? And that's with feet flexed. But if you're getting uncomfortable, you're not alone. This can be a hard pose for a lot of people. And so what you can do is you can kind of put this behind you. Just sit up on the edge of a blanket or a towel, and that way this angle that you're working on isn't quite so sharp. Okay, so this can ease up your back a little bit. If that feels more comfortable, if you want to pause and go get a blanket or something to try it, you're welcome to. But this works better for a lot of people. When we were doing the just seated cross-legged before, I mentioned that you can put something under you there too, and that works the same way. It just kind of takes that sharp angle bend off of your back and makes it a little bit easier. All right, so here we are in staff pose. I'm going to take this out from under me. See if you can get comfortable with staff, and then we're going to push it further. We're going to do a seated forward fold. You've already seen what a standing forward fold looks like. Same thing, okay? So for a seated forward fold, we're going to inhale up, and then the same way we kind of bowed for the standing, that's what we're aiming for the seated, okay? And keep in mind, as always, if this is it for you, that's great. I don't have terribly flexible hamstrings, so I can't go flat like some people do, but again, it's not about what you can't do, it's about what you do, right? So arms up, inhale, and then exhale forward, kind of leading with your chest. And then this is why I brought in the strap. I want to show you that for this pose, a strap can be helpful if you're just not reaching your feet, but you want to have that stretch in your hamstrings. Then you can just grab a strap, bring it around your feet, and then kind of tug from here and make that your stretch. You can really feel it in your hamstrings, and that way you don't have to kind of get bent over too much trying to reach. You can keep a nice long back, flat back, and just go forward. Okay, so that would be a use for a strap. All right, let's do one more quick seated forward fold. Inhale up, shoulders relaxed. Exhale forward, reaching, and again you can grab your feet, your calves, your whatever, ankles, and just relax your head and feel that stretch and breathe. And then coming up, reach out and up and back to staff pose. A lot of these seated poses can be really tough because we have such tight hips and hamstrings from all the sitting we do. You'd think we'd be better at sitting, but there you have it. Okay, from here I want to do another. That's head to knee pose. Pretty self-explanatory. You can guess where we're going with this. Bring one leg up with your bottom of your foot into your thigh and the knee out. Try to adjust yourself so you're kind of up on those sitting bones, and you can definitely still have a blanket or a towel underneath you if it feels more comfortable. And then I said head to knee, so the goal is the head to the knee. It's not going to happen here, but that's the goal. So we're going to do very similar. Just inhale up and then exhale down, leading with your chest. Okay? And then just hang there. You don't have to over push it, but just hang there and feel the stretch. Feel where your sort of dead ends are. Is it your calves or your hamstrings or your hip, the back of your hip? Just feel that. Breathe into it and try to relax into this stretch. Make sure your neck is relaxed, shoulders relaxed, and just take nice deep breaths. Try to feel it into the stretch. And if you feel like you have it in you, take an inhale and then try to exhale a little bit further down. And then on your next inhale, come on back up to sitting. And then we have what's called a rotated head to knee. Again, pretty self-explanatory, but we're going to go over the side for this, okay? So you've still got one hand down here, and this one we're going to lift over the top and to the side. So you've got this arm up on your ear, and you're looking out forward. And this hand, you can have it, again, in the back, in the front, around the foot, wherever it happens to land is fine. You really feel this stretching out your hips. And keep breathing. And as with before, if you have it in you on an inhale, lift up a little, and then on the exhale, try to go a little bit further. And come back to sitting. And we'll come back to staff pose, and then we'll go to the other side. Feel free to shake out your legs if you need to. All right, so this time we'll take the opposite leg in. Readjust yourself on those sit bones, nice and tall, and then we're going head to knee, or some variation on that. So head out, leading with your chest, and landing somewhere toward your knee. And keep breathing. Keep your shoulders relaxed. And wherever you feel those stopping points in your body, just breathe into them. Keep breathing. Inhale and then exhale a little bit further if you can. And bring yourself back up. Back to center, and then we'll do the rotated head to knee. Arm overhead and torso turned, heading out over that extended leg. Shoulders relaxed. Keep breathing. See if you can exhale a little further. And then bring yourself back up. All right. Shake out your legs, pound them out a little bit. And while we're here, we'll do a seated twist. Once again, still works with a blanket underneath if you want. Otherwise, we'll stay like this. And we'll keep this one a simple one. Just bend in one leg so your foot comes somewhere around your knee. And then with your opposite arm, hug that leg. And bring your bent leg side arm around to the back. Place your hand. And then turn and open your chest nice and wide. Look out toward the back. Try to sit nice and tall. Keep breathing. Shoulders relaxed, neck long. Kind of breathe into the twist, but not more with your neck, more with your torso. When you're ready, come back to front on an inhale. And then exhale your leg back down. And we'll do the same on the other side. So this time this leg comes up, anywhere that it's comfortable. Hug it with your opposite hand, arm, and then head on around. And place your hand behind you, and then use the pressure of both the hand and the arm to twist you on around. Keep breathing, neck long, shoulders relaxed. And breathe a little further into the twist. And come back around. All right, you guys are working hard today. All right, next up we're going to go prone onto the floor. We're moving closer and closer to the floor, as you see. One thing about props is when they're not in use, try to be aware of where they are. If you're using them and then you're finished with them, kind of set them off your mat, but obviously not someplace that someone's going to trip over them. You don't want to get tangled up when you're in the middle of something. All right, new pose from prone. You remember we did Sphinx and Cobra, and some poses to stretch the back and to build that posterior chain of muscles. I'm going to do a few more, slightly more advanced poses today with that. The first one's called Locust. So for Locust, we're still going to ultimately incorporate that back bend, but we're not going to use our arms, okay? No arms. So Locust, your feet are tops on the floor, more or less together, wherever they're comfortable. And then we're going to put arms down beside you, palms up. Locust can take a couple different forms. We'll stick with this form for now. This will be kind of like airplane locust. All right, you can put your chin or your forehead on the floor. Take a breath to get ready. And then when you're ready, we're going to just inhale off the floor. Anything you can lift, go ahead and lift. So arms, legs, chest, you're going to take it off the floor. All right? So ready? Inhale up. And then breathe. And as usual, hold it as long as you want, not as long as I hold it. There should be energy out your toes and out your fingers. Feel those legs and arms engaged, chest up, looking out, and head back down. Relax on the floor. We're going to try that one more time. Get yourself ready. And when you're ready, on an inhale, lift up. Gaze, shoulders back, chest open, hands and feet stretched out. And relax. And if you remember child's pose, head back into child's pose. Back on your knees, you can have your knees separated. You can have them together, however you're comfortable. Face down on the floor, arms behind you. Just feel that opposite stretch. All right, I think that's enough prone for today. Let's head into Shavasana. So lying on your back, neck nice and long. Get yourself comfortable, press your lower back into the floor, shoulders down, reach towards your feet, and then straighten your legs out. Let your legs fall open. And just take a moment to relax. Shoulders sinking into the floor, arms, legs, everything. Just let yourself feel heavy and weighted and sinking into the floor. That was a hard workout. Breathe nice, deep, relaxed breaths at your own pace. Relax your face, fingers, toes. Sink into the floor. Just feel heavy into the floor. Stay there as long as you like, or when you're ready, bring your knees up and roll onto your side. Push up with your hands, let your head be the last thing to come up. Come back to cross-legged. Congratulate yourself on a great yoga session. Feel the energy coursing through your body. Feel that increased calm, but also increased energy. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Namaste.